Hi everyone, my name is Grace Kemp, and this is entitled The Incredible Crossing of the Red Sea, Part 4. In Part 3, we determined that the path through the sea to be 2,993 feet wide, I believe, right around a half a mile. And it would mean, since it's 12 miles across, we estimate, it would mean that every wagon and person would have an area of 93 square feet. So it could easily accommodate the entire mass of the children of Israel crossing. And we estimated the displaced water to be more than 46 billion cubic feet in this wide area that God opened in the sea, which means that each wall would consist of more than 23 billion cubic feet of water. And if we estimate the walls to be 200 feet thick, then the height of the walls is already 1,845 feet, which is incredibly high. It's higher than the World Trade Center buildings were. And God opened this water, it says, by the blast of his nostrils. My friend Clint Miller did the math and came up with the figure of 550 trillion kilowatts of power would be necessary to open that and hold back these walls of water for 12 hours. It's an incredible, amazing feat when you know the statistics. But the topic here is basically the wind. That force of a wind blowing in the faces of the Israelites would blow them right out of the path. They could not withstand that type of powerfully a blast of cold air like that. So I'm estimating that the wind broke into two tongues and hugged the walls and did not blow down the middle of the path. That's purely speculation, but I'm sort of thinking that's how it would have to be. And then the walls would be sustained and the middle would be free of the wind. Now there's an interesting verse, it's in Exodus 19, 3 and 4. It says, I bear you on eagle's wings. I bear you on eagle's wings. And I took a second look at that. And if I want to be literal about that, eagles rise on warm air currents, thermal updrafts. Eagles sort of float on those updrafts. Warm air rises. And now wind is also drawn into a low pressure area. And if these winds came circling down the path on either side, hugging the ice walls, what happens when they get past the people? Well, there is an enormous pillar of fire. Now the one in the picture doesn't look too impressive. I estimate the pillar of fire to be about 1,000 feet high and probably 100 feet off the ground, because it towered above them and it provided light and warmth to the path. Well, considering that the winds are coming down when they pass the people, what is next is this tower of fire. On the other side of the fire, it was dark. It was dark on the Egyptian side. So I'm thinking that as it warmed the air under it, it would suck these winds toward it. They would go to that low pressure area created by the warm updraft of air, perhaps warming these icy winds, inasmuch as they would then rise up. But because of the amount of wind and the force of the blast, as they warmed, it is quite possible, I think, that the wind then turned itself around from blowing west, that it would take the line of least resistance and turn itself around and begin blowing east at the backs of the Jews. Perhaps that's what the verse means, I bear you on eagle's wings. If they had a warm wind to their back, it's like a tailwind, that would explain how they got there so quickly and they didn't stumble. They were joyous, they were energetic, and so they weren't tired out at all, according to scripture from other verses. In any case, that's a scenario you can consider. I put it before you. You can judge whether it has any merit or not. Please come back for part 5, when we talk about the destruction of the Egyptian army, and this wind is going to factor into that and have a lot to do with the tsunami that will follow. Please come back for part 5.